So using y equals mx plus b is one of the easier ways to graph a linear equation. We are going to graph with standard form as well in this video, but we're going to start out with slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b, remember that m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. And we can use the slope as our rise over our run to count between points. And then the y-intercept is, like our starting point if we have it. So that makes that y equals mx plus b really helpful. So let's just see how this works. If we have y equals 2/3 x plus 1, I'm going to use the plus 1 as my place to start on the y-intercept. So I'm going to put a dot right there. And then my slope is 2/3, which remember is my change in y over my change in x, or my rise over my run. So from this point I already have, I'm going to rise 2, 1, 2, and go to the right 3, 1, 2, 3. All you need to make a point, to make a line, are 2 points. So boom, we're done. Imagine that line actually went through the points. Just as a sidebar, really quick, our rise and our run. Rise is always up and down. Positive, it goes up, negative goes down. Run is always left and right, positive to the right, negative to the left, just like on the x and y axes on the graph. So we're going to start at our y-intercept here, which is -2. And then we're going to use the slope. What is the slope, though? What is being multiplied by x here? So there's an invisible 1 here. So our slope is 1. But how do we turn that into rise over run? Every whole number, remember, has a 1 on the bottom. It's like we have that many wholes. So 1 turns into 1 over 1. So that's what we'll use for our slope. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. You can do this as many times as you want. But again, you only need 2 points to make a line. So as soon as you've got 2, you're done. All right. Here we have y equals -4/3 x. What is my y-intercept? So we're asking what's being added here. And nothing is being added, so we're starting at 0. Now I'm going to use that slope. Careful. I could think of this as down 4/3 or up 4 backwards 3. Whichever way, I just want to make sure in the end it's a negative slope, so it goes down from left to right? So here I'm at 0. I'm going to go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right 3. Looks good. It's going down from left to right. We could have also, though, counted this as up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, backwards 3, 1, 2, 3. Either way would get us the same line. All right, we've got -3 as our y-intercept, starting right there. And then we're going to use this slope, which is 2, which is the same as 2 over 1. So from that point, we're going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Again, we can do that as many times as we want, but we only need 2 points for the line. All right, y equals -3. Now you need to think that there are 4 kinds of lines that we'll see. Ones that have positive slope, ones that have negative slope, ones that have 0 slope, and ones that have undefined slope, like they don't have a slope, right? So what we have here in a y equals mx plus b, -3 is my b, but I don't have any x. So that means that the number getting multiplied by x is 0. I have 0 x's, okay? So I'm going to start at -3 just like I would. But now, since there's a slope of 0, that has to be a perfectly flat line. We're just going left and right. That is our, every time we have a y equals a number, there are always going to be these flat horizontal lines with 0 slope. Ooh, now if it's an x equals line, remember in y equals mx plus b, then the number on x is the slope. But if we have x equals, like, we're in trouble. We don't have a helpful thing for our slope or our y-intercept because it's not in y equals mx plus b form. So it's in an x equals form, and we're going to go look and see x equals 2. So that means if we're making a table, any point where x is 2 works on this graph, right? And that means truly y could be anything. Or we can just think about that x equals 2. We had y equals a number was a horizontal line. X equals a number is going to be a vertical line. So we're going to go to 2 on the x-axis, and we're just going to straight up and down. What is the slope of this line? This does not have a slope. It is entirely undefined, or we might say DNE. And while we're here, let's notice, what's the y-intercept of this? There is none. It's parallel to the y-axis, so it never touches it. There's also no y-intercept. It does have an x-intercept at 2, but it never touches the y-axis. So, all right, let's keep going. When you have an equation that is in standard form, or even just anything other than y equals, the easiest thing to do, in my opinion, is to just rewrite it to get y all by itself on one side. And then you're going to be able to just see the slope and the y-intercept just waiting for you. I could write this as 9 minus 3x. I'm going to write it the other way, because just like how 2 plus 3 is the same as 3 plus 2, we can swap the order of this one. So I'm going to put negative 3x plus 9. I'm going to divide every single thing by negative 2, and we get y equals a negative divided by a negative leaves us as positive 3 over 2x plus 9 divided by negative 2 is going to be negative. So I'll make this negative 4.5. All right, to graph this, I'm going to go to negative 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Not so nice, but we're going to do our best. And then we're going to go up 3 over 2 from there. And remember, we're halfway, so we're going to have to stay halfway. 1, 2, 3 over 2. All right, we've got 2 points, which means we've got a line. There is another way to graph this guy. We could just use the intercepts to graph it if we wanted. So if you want to use the intercepts to graph instead, remember you just put in 0 for x, and we get y equals negative 4.5. We then put in 0 for y, and we'll have 3 times x equals 9, so x equals 3. So we could have just graphed it using those two intercepts. Look, it's right here, so nice, and connected those as well, if that's easier. However, if a question is going to ask you for the slope, well, it's going to be easiest if you put it into y equals form first anyway. All right, getting y all by itself on one side, I'm going to add this 3x. This time, just to be difficult, I'm going to not rearrange these just to show you what happens. So we've got y all by itself on one side. What's the slope? What's the y-intercept? This guy, they're written in the backwards order, right? So remember, the slope is always the number on x, and the thing that's being added or subtracted is the y-intercept. So we're going to start at negative 2 and use that slope up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. There's my equation, my graph. All right, now what if they tell us the slope and they tell us a point and they just tell us to graph? We can do it. What we'll do is we'll start at our point, and here we have 3, 1, so 3, 1. And then we just use the slope, just like we have been doing from the intercept, to find our next point. So 2 is the same as 2 over 1. That's my rise and my run. So I'm going to go up 2 and to the right 1. Boom. There is my point and my line. Notice, now that we've graphed it and we already know the slope was 2, we could write the equation if we wanted, because we know it's y equals 2x, and let's go check and see where the intercept is. It's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 5. Whew! They didn't ask us for an equation, but if we needed it, we could do it, right? All right, starting at negative 2, and we're going to use the slope negative 2 over 3. So this is going to need to be going down, right? So we're going to go down 2 to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. Or we could have gone up 2 and backwards 3. 1, 2, 3. Here's my graph. This one, it's not quite so clear what my y-intercept is because it's a decimal, but I could figure it out if I needed to. Starting at 3, -4, 3, -4 with a slope of 0. What happens with a 0 slope? Horizontal line. So we're going to go straight across. Boop. Done. What is this equation? We know it's a y equals because it has 0 slope. And what does y equal? Equals -4. Ooh, our slope does not exist. And we're starting at -1, 2. All right, if our slope does not exist, there's only one type of equation or one type of graph. This has to be a vertical line. So let's draw that vertical line in. A D-any slope means this has to be an x equals equation. And what does x equal? Equals -1. All right, if we have it already graphed and we're going backwards, how do we get the equation? You've sort of seen me do it already, huh? We're going to look for the y-intercept, which here is -4. And then we're going to count for our slope, okay? Careful on this graph, it's going by 2s. So this is going down 2 over 2. So my slope I could say is -2. Oh, sorry, this is positive because it's to the right. -2 over 2. But if I simplify that, it's just -1. So my equation is going to be -1x minus 4. Y equals -1x minus 4. Let's try another. Okay, y-intercept looks like -2. Let's find some nice points to use to count for the slope. We can go from here. Where's another nice point where it goes right through, right through on the lines. Okay, so we're going up 1, 2, 3, and over 4. All right, so my equation is y equals 3/4 x minus 2. All right, y-intercept is 3. What's my slope? They gave me the points already, so nice. Down 2, to the right 3, -2/3 x plus 3.